I'm Tony Craig. I play Jack Huey on Due South.
I am Catherine Bruyere.
Hey everyone, this is Ramona Milano, otherwise known as Francesca Vecchio.
This is Paul Haggis, and you're listening to Due South by Southeast.
I wish this podcast would carry me away, but while talking discreetly, can Michelle get a word in edgeways? Record over a bottle of rum on a dock of Southampton Bay. Hey, Due South, that is what we're talking about. Due South. Saddle up my microphone, give deep in bed, girl, a bone. Due South by Southeast.
Hello and welcome to Due South by Southeast, the show which gives Due South its dues one episode at a time. We're back, baby. So I should actually, first of all, before I go any further, it would be rude of me not to acknowledge my co-host sat right next to me, without whom the podcast just wouldn't be possible. Of course, speaking of none other than Willow. Civilian Willow. What did we decide she was? Lieutenant Willow?
I'd say Lieutenant.
Lieutenant Willow.
Yeah, Lieutenant
Willow. Yeah, we haven't had a Lieutenant Willow. So Lieutenant Willow, and of course, the little lady to my left. It is Minnie Mountie Michelle.
I was just about to say, instead of Mountie Michelle, I should just.
Go on.
Sorry, am I hurting your ears?
Well, I mean, more than usual, yeah.
Yeah, I should actually just be Mini Mountie Michelle now, because I'm pretty sure every time we record, I'm getting like lower and lower down. And
Do you say you should be Minnie Mountie Michelle? You already are Minnie.
No, I'm just Mountie Michelle, aren't I?
Oh,
I am Mountie
Sorry,
Michelle.
it's just I've got so used to calling you.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm lower than normal.
Yeah, and if that's possible.
Well, apparently it is. When you sit on a slope in a little chair, it's the slope. I'm on a slope.
So for anyone who doesn't know, you may be looking around noticing that the log cabin is looking a little bit different. Basically, right. So the plan was, guys, I was going to be moving back for a few months to help my mum sort out her house. Just basically more stuff than she needs. She's got mobility issues. Heading on to 86. And the weekend I was moving back with the idea of moving early next year again. She had a fell and broke her hip. So I would get used to these walls. It might be more of a focus. So I'm going to be here for a little while. But this is our new digs. We've got Willow there. It's nice actually. It does get Willow a bit easier onto the camera.
I was thinking you could have a big Canadian flag or something up on that wall.
I mean, I do have a Canadian flag. It's somewhere. Oh yeah, it's over. I don't know if I can get on camera.
Yeah, I can see it.
Yeah, the Canadian flag. Yeah, might have to do. Anyway, that being said, welcome back to the show, guys. For anyone who was watching last time we were on, you may remember Michelle kind of very hastily, I thought, promising that we were going to be wearing for Halloween Mountie outfits. Now, you may notice Halloween came and went, and we didn't, and we weren't wearing Mountie outfits. Basically, between me moving, I was in a play recently, which went very well. Thank you very much, guys. We did talk about it last time we were on. And it was a lovely play, but that happened. And my assessment for ADHD, which I was shown to have, so I was starting medication as well, which is great. But that was in itself during the play, and it was a very intense 2 hours going through my entire history and how kind of ADHD has affected it. So that was a brutal couple of hours and a lot to deal with afterwards. As is the medication. Like, this is my second day. So they do something called titration. So you go through low dose, medium dose, and a settlement dose, I think is the term they use. You might know better than that, Michelle, being a nurse.
Yeah.
Settlement dose.
Let's go with settlement dose.
Michelle, no. Yeah, sure. We'll
Yeah,
go with that.
call
yeah.
it what you want, pretty much.
Anyway, third dose, that's the max. So I'm on the second kind of strength on the second day. So just strap in. If I'm a little bit, sometimes it takes a few days for the meds to level out. It's really helping my concentration, though. I find and my like just processing things just a bit quicker and kind of. It's funny because I can process some things quicker, but I can also slow down and take a beat to think about things easier. Like I don't so quickly hit the kind of send button on a bit of work I've done. I'll actually stop and check it first, which is really hard to bypass that one. It's like, right, it's done, send, because you're trying to get it done quickly for everyone. Anyway, that's by the by. See, I'm going off on tangents. That's very much
yeah. So I think what you were saying
assisted.
essentially was it was your fault that we didn't do Halloween costumes. I think is what you're saying.
Well, and I had the move, which I'm here to help out my saintly mum. Yeah, sorry if that makes
Yeah,
it my fault.
it
You know,
yeah.
so if helping out a loved one makes me selfish, yeah, I understand, Michelle. I understand where you get there. No, I did. I said to Michelle, I think it was a week before Halloween. I was going, we haven't ordered them, so that's probably against us, and it would be maybe a bit better and a bit easier to do for Christmas. So we're not doing it. We've always said since the show pretty much began that we would do the Mountie outfits one day. It's going to be this Christmas. It's definitely going to happen. It's going to happen. I want to make this Christmas special for Due South by Southeast, a real special one. Like, we'll think of the theme, we'll do something really cool. It'd be really cool to involve all of you out there, all the Dewsers. So yeah, please do join us for that. It's going to be a fun old time. But Michelle, how have you been? How's it been?
I'm all right. Yeah, other than getting smaller and more disabled, I think my knees are giving up on me. Who knew this was going to happen to me in my early 40s?
I mean, your knees. Me, I mean, since I've known you, your knees have been dodgy, and then you were like 16, 17.
Yeah,
So, I mean,
I was born with bad knees.
Yeah, so pretty much everyone knew, including medical professionals.
Yeah, but other than my knees,
don't act as if it's a surprise.
I'm doing all right.
It's like when I got diagnosed with ADHD. Shocker. You know the knees which have troubled you since you're 17. You're in your 40s, they still trouble you? No.
Yeah, I went on a little mini break, which involved a lot of walking up hills, and it's like a week later, I'm still suffering.
I finished with the show, and it was literally the day after which I moved. And in the play, I'm playing a kid who, so it's adults playing 7-year-olds because it explores them kind of discovering adult theme. It was a really great play. Really enjoyed it. Went down very well. Got some lovely comments on my performance. But my character's a bully who loses the fight every time in the play. So he's in 3 fights, he loses 3, and he gets knocked on 2 fights, and he gets knocked on his bum twice during one fight and once during the other one. So by the end of the play, in real life, my bum was bruised. I had a bruised coccyx, and then I had to move boxes. And just as I was going up the stairs, because it was my friends Steve and Nikki who helped me move, and by the time I was moving the box, I was like, ow, 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 ow. But I wasn't going to let them lift all the heavy boxes, one to play my part. And the bruising has just gone down now. So I can definitely relate to this. And that was like a fortnight ago. So
yeah, I think maybe when you hit 40, everything just takes longer to heal.
I mean, it's a very youthful Due South by Southeast. By the way, I haven't just lost all my hair since the last time I was on. Shaved it for the part. So it is gradually coming back. Nearly got a bit of beard back again.
Yeah, it's
nice.
going pretty quick, actually.
It is. But anyway, all that aside, I was going to say something very quickly before we move on. I was going to say this, and then we're going to move past. But this might have been a tough week for a few people with certain things in the news. I'm not going to go into it, but just I think watching and celebrating TV shows we like, of putting ourselves in those things of comfort, whether it be that, whether it be music, anything else, just a great way of taking your mind off it. And I think the thing I always liked about Due South is the fact that no matter what the theme of the episode, basically Benny's trying to help out the little guy. And it's like you can have these bigger themes, like he's taken on the we're Royal Canadian Mounted Police in the first episode, which puts him at odds with his people, and you get like gangsters, and he's kind of going against the mafia and a tenant association with like these slum landlords. All these kind of big characters, but it's always in defense of the little guy. And I think just like we can take something from that like we can help out on a small level, an everyday thing. Check in on your friends, do kind of little good acts of kindness, and just concentrate on what you can control and what you can do. And that's my current way through. And as I say, I'm not going to mention the thing, but the thing has deeply distressed me, and that's how I'm coping. So hopefully that might be something which helps other people too. Just bury yourself in due south. It's great. There you go. Anyway, moving on, unless you've got anything to add to that, Michelle.
The only thing that I was going to add, and it's a cheery thing, it's a nice thing, I was going to show off my little book. You might better hold it up a bit better than me.
I wasn't mean generally if there's anything you want to add. Just
oh no,
that's cool.
But cheer you up, I got a new little Canada books, and it's really cute.
It's amazing, and this now contains the mini Mountie list. Most importantly.
Oh yeah.
So yeah, no, very cool.
So
we're gonna have our Canadian outfits with our Canada list there. Awesome.
I might bring my Mountie glass over as well. I know it's not very practical, but it's very cool.
Nice. It will be good. Okay, so this week's episode is there actually not. What am I thinking about?
Oh my goodness!
Jump to this week's episode.
No, we're not ready.
Orders of business.
We are not there yet.
What was I thinking of, man? Yeah. You spend a few extra weeks without doing an episode, and you just lose the reservation.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So, just trying to remember the jingle. Mini Mountain Club.
Mini Mountie Club. Eh?
So, Michelle, I know you will have, I'm sure, a list of people you want to add to Mini Mountie Club.
No. Oh, do you know what? There was one I was thinking, but I've just looked. No, I have added it already.
Have we added my girlfriend, Kate de Havilland?
Yeah, last time.
Okay, I thought we did. So,
Yeah.
what I'm going to instead suggest is, have we added Paul Gross Fans?
No.
Which is a very wonderful resource site / person who posts about due south due south and specifically Paul Gross all the time. Been very, very nice in sharing our episodes. So I thought that was a great addition to the Mini Mountie Club.
Definitely, yeah. So they are at 143.
43. I'm just going to. It's Paul Gross Fans, I'm pretty sure. Oh, sorry. Pardon me.
I've written it now.
A correction. Paul Gross Addict. Pardon me.
Addict.
What a miss, because I'm guessing a guy. I don't know. But I just look at Paul Gross, and that's why I think of a guy, because his profile's picture of Paul Gross. But this person certainly does share, like, not only loads of stuff too with Paul Gross and Due South on our page and on the Due South page, but also they message me from time to time with little links and things. Absolutely really
Nice.
lovely, and yeah, really helps out. Keep our name out there. So and down Reddit, I think, which I don't get at all, but he uses that to advertise us somehow.
Oh, very cool.
So
Thank
we're very
you.
thankful for that.
Thank you very much.
Doing much better job than us at advertising us, because I will get back at some point to putting up a link before the show, so you know when it's coming. But it just everything's been on the rush.
We might be at a point where we can get a bit more organised now, though.
We might. I mean, honestly, at the moment, I mentioned it before, where I am back with my mum, I'm trying to sort out her place. So when she gets back, because she's still in hospital, that the house is a bit more manageable for her. So I'm tidying out loads of stuff. It's just a busy few weeks. Once I get past doing that, it'll free me up a lot, and we can get a bit ahead of things. I honestly, these meds which I'm on are a game changer. Even though they give me like cotton mouth in the evening sometimes, they're a game changer. Really, the amount I'm able to focus and plan for things better is really notable. So really hoping you'll notice a difference on the show going forward, and all the things Dr. Squee as well. So anyway, so that's our Mini Mountie Club. Oh, I think what we need to do though, because for the next order of business, I got a special one. So I think we need to If we drink our what's left in our glasses now, cheers.
Cheers.
To all you at home as well.
Cheers.
So, one sec, talk amongst yourself.
Well, it'd be nice if Willow would chime in.
It's in there, isn't it?
Oh, yeah.
Believe the secret sauce. So, if you get that ready and pour, I will introduce you.
Yeah, sounds good.
Yo, ho, ho, we're getting drunk as hell. Can you tell me this? We're drinking Michelle. Almost. And
So
again,
close.
once again, I'm going to get those jingles off my tablet and put them on with little videos, something like
Because as great as we are, we do miss hearing Johnny.
Yeah. Oh, Johnny White Trash. Johnny White Trash? What are we talking about? It's not Johnny White Trash. That is who he used to be. That is his
former
persona.
self. Yeah.
He is now Blaine Garrison. So Blaine, thank you as always for those jingles. And because I always forget to say it, I'm also going to say thank you so much, Mr. Matt Lees, for our wonderful theme tune on the podcast.
Thank you.
And we are going to go into what rum we are drinking. So we've had a little bit of Old Hopkins so far tonight. We also have another staple of Due South by Southeast. There's a bit of Captain Morgan's right there as well, which we haven't yet had, but may have some on the pod. But now we get on to our main feature rum this week, one we've never had on the pod. I got this at Rumsey Show. What's that? Rumsey Show where Willow Rumsey Show where Willow got Prettiest Bitch. So thusly is basically Miss Dog Rumsey. That one indeed. So I found this one. What's it called, Michelle?
Maroon rum.
So this is a local Hampshire distillery. Trying to
read some of the writing on there.
And I will not be able to read it either. It's cask strength, so it's a strong one. It's 65% volume, so strap in for this episode. Thanks. Sorry. Oh, cool.
It's the way they've written it. It's really hard to read it.
Shades in spirits from something of the earth. From all four corners of the earth.
Well done.
There we go.
Well done. You did better than me.
So it's from all corners of the earth. Why not? I'm sure they said it was made in Hampshire. Anyway, it's beckfordsrum.com. So do check them out. This is an absolutely lovely drop. So originally we had intended to record last week, but the honest to goodness truth was, after moving, I could not find the Due South DVDs until this week. So so we did crack this open last week, and it was a very enjoyable drop.
Might be easier if you pour that. I'm very low down here. I might have to invest in my own chair that I can carry around with me.
There are plans once I've got everything settled. I may even go for a second chair.
Even if it's like a fold-up one.
Yeah,
that might be better.
I don't know. The problem is the fold-up ones don't tend to be very tall, but I've got a bit of an idea in mind.
Okay.
I
will trust you. A little high chair. I can put this a little somewhere for me to put my drink as well. I'll be all right with that. My drink, my snacks.
Yeah.
My book.
Oh, sorry, in case this gets boring for you. Cheers, Michelle.
No, I meant my notebook. Cheers.
Oh, that's lovely. Got loads of notes of sort of like kind of syrupy. It's got some coconut in there. Got a nice kick at the back end.
Yeah,
as well.
It's lovely. I definitely recommend it if you're able to get hold of some. Definitely recommend this one.
Yeah, Maroon Rum, we highly recommend. I'm going to say brewed locally. Doesn't say, so
we'll just say it.
Yeah, I'll say it anyway. Okay, guys, let's go into this week's episode. Woo! We've discovered which rums we're drinking. We put a mini Mountie right there on the club. We've talked some shit. So now it's time for the episode. So, Michelle, which episode are we covering today, even though it's in the episode title? Number 10, no one knows.
It's called Spy versus Spy, episode number 78.
Well, 78 of Due South by Southeast.
Of Due South by Southeast.
Not of Due South.
So, yeah.
It's a season 3 one. That's all I know. I don't know. But it's 78 of ours. So, heading towards 80 episodes.
Wow.
Over 27 years, I think it was. I'm pretty sure that's accurate. we've stormed through these episodes.
Wow.
We have.
Yeah.
I think it might have been 2017 when we started, something like that. It's ridiculous.
Okay. We'll speed up. We're going to speed up through
No,
this
we
now.
are sped up already, but it's I must admit, when I noticed this was on a new disc, now we're getting towards the end, and as much discussed on here, season 3 and 4 was just season 3 over here. So to my mind, this feels like the last season, just a long last season.
Yeah.
And we're on the second disc already, so it's like we're getting through them. We are. Anyway, so who wrote and directed this one?
It was directed by Paul Lynch and written by Dave Cole.
And there are so many different like guest stars who've been in everything in this one. It is a weird one, I will say. I feel like the thing is when they got to season 3 and 4 and Paul Grace stepped up as basically producing Due South, you do definitely get this feeling whereby you've had the format going into it so far. Season 2 kind of played about with it, but generally it was the same kind of format show. Season 3 and 4, they have some really experimental different episodes, and this is definitely one of them. They play about with genres, style of humor is a bit different in places, and if I'm honest, like I always applaud doing an experiment because you get some wonderful episodes like last week's one where they all see something from different perspectives. I think that's a fascinating idea. But this one, perhaps not the best success. Like it's not without its charms, but it would never be one of my favorite episodes.
No, I enjoyed it. It was an enjoyable episode, but we just kept there were times we were just like looking at each other, just like this is so weird for Due South. This is not. This doesn't feel like Due South at times.
Well, we'll get into it. I was going to give an example, but let's get into it. So
so we start off the episode and we've got Ray and Benny just walking down the street, and there's some elderly guy just walks up to Benny. Benny knows him.
I think prior to that, or do they mention afterwards that Benny? Anyway, it's in the same scene that Benny's moving as well. They mention he's looking for a place, and it's like it's kind of weird because quite early on it felt like that place was established and it kind of featured in a few episodes, and I don't know, it does feel like a big change of something which was established for a long time in Due South. So it's kind of funny to see him moving. I just thought of all those episodes with all those kind of quirky neighbors.
Oh yeah, I did I liked his apartment block and the neighbors. That was
so I'm gonna miss that.
Nice.
I don't remember where he moves or if they make anything of where he moves to, but be interesting to see.
Yeah. But yeah, I love this old guy. They were calling him H, weren't they? Just walks up and he's he's quite a character. He's a bit quirky himself, so of course he's drawn to Benny.
And this guy seems. I'm trying to put this politely because great actor. I recognized him instantly from again. Like I looked it up and it turns out he's been in a dozen different things I've seen him in. And I did mention some go, wow, that guy is very, very, he's an old man. Like it was just very noticeable, like almost uninsurably old. Sorry, I'm not saying, I know I'm laughing, but it's like, it was, I noted that. And then a little later, it becomes a central theme, the fact that he is so old and he's kind of started to question himself. You get the feeling he's trying to make a difference right at the end and be someone where he's felt like he's not. And it's so interesting that they picked someone kind of who looks so visibly old. And it just they picked well because that's the first thing I noticed. So mission successful. Yeah,
and but this guy, he's
a lovely guy, great actor as well.
And he's talking as if he's a spy, and then he starts
and he gets radio signals through his teeth.
Yeah, this metal plate he's got. He's getting all these signals. You're right there. Yeah, he receives calls in the plate of his head.
Yes.
Because why wouldn't you?
No,
just why? Of course you do. That's it.
Yeah.
That's it. Plate in his head. And Benny's just talking like that's a normal thing. That's Benny does, and Ray's just like, this is
love
mad.
How we're 3 seasons in, and we're just still meeting the rogues gallery of weird people that Benny hangs out with. And you believe it. And let's face it, a lot of the people he hangs out with aren't young. So you also believe there could be a turnover? I just don't.
What?
No, I'm sorry. No, you're right. Old people have great life expectancy. You're right.
Absolutely.
I mean, he's hanging out with pensioners. That's what I'm saying. Like, they are more prone to dying than young people. I don't think it's an unreasonable statement.
Yeah, and they end up, as sometimes you see in these like American things, there's people just outdoors like playing chess. Seems to be a thing over there, doesn't it? And so Ray is playing against this elderly guy, and he loses. He's calling this, acting like this guy's crazy, but then he completely loses this game of chess to him. But I do have to say, I did note at this point, Ray's glasses. I know that you bought them up a few times. He had the ones that were like flipped up.
Yeah,
such a
blue filter.
Yeah, such a 90s thing. You don't see sunglasses like that anymore that just like flip up, do you?
Damn it, I saw them earlier. I've got a pair which flip up, like they're just normal sunnies, and you flip them up and they're see-through glasses. Yeah, I love them. I remember seeing them and thinking it's like, this is like Dwayne Wayne, I think, was from a different world.
Yes.
The guy from different world, yeah, the glasses were flipped up. I was like,
don't see them anymore, do you?
I'm buying them from my childhood self.
Yeah. Well, they were cool.
Yeah.
Quite fun. And then you've got the old guy. He kind of goes off after the chess, and then he's kind of doing his like spy business kind of. He's watching this guy, and he's like, this guy looks suspicious. And he's like watching him. He puts something in a bin. After he goes, he's straight round to the bin, taking out his stuff, isn't he? It's just like, it seems like it's just like by chance he actually comes across someone dodgy doing some dodgy stuff. And
it was like, this was the thing. I love that whole thing of like, is this guy just crazy, or does he believe in something? And the idea that Benny, chooses to believe him, very due south, very kind of like classic due south. But it's more the fact that then, like the guy isn't in it for a lot of it, and it's like maybe due to his age, but it's like I kind of wish like we'd seen more of the guy along for the ride as well.
Yeah.
Like I get it, the certain scenes it would be like a high speed car chase. You're probably not going to see him in it. Having said that, they've done that in shows and they've like bluffed it and made it kind of work. So obviously the old person isn't in any real danger, but it's like I think. It's what I was saying before. Like Due South is all about Benny looking out for the little guy, and it's that little guy's journey. And the fact that we don't see him more, I think that would have been a better connection in the episode if we'd seen him a bit more.
I think so too. Yeah,
I think that's what this episode was kind of missing, was just that guy being front and center and coming back to him, even if it's between each bit of the mission. He's like, what did you find out? What happened? And like have a bit more of Ray sort of saying, it's like, like Ray's got to be the skeptic. That's his part.
Yeah, that's his bit. Yeah.
And again, I understand trying to do something different from what you've done before, because that keeps the show alive. But it's like it felt a little less due south for not having that and not having the close connection to the person who Benny's saving.
Yeah. Yeah, so this package that he finds, so it's got some money in which he just pockets, and it's got a theatre ticket in as well. It's got a ticket, yeah. And then Ray and Benny are just walking around, and the person that was after the like the ticket, the ticket and the money, he gets the old guy, and he's I think he did actually beat him up a bit, didn't he? Not like really, but the character. And Benny hears him shouting for help, goes round the corner. Ray punches him, and they save our old guy. But sadly for Ray, this one punch kills this guy.
Yeah, this feels also very much like a thing we've seen in other shows. The whole thing of looks like the cop's done it, but how did someone bluff it to make it look like he's guilty? Like it's impossible that it came from anywhere but his gun, but secretly there was this, or his gun was somehow programmed to go off at that moment. So this is always kind of fun. I have no objection to them trading on basically TV tropes. Absolutely fine thing to do.
But you were going to drink my drink then. My goodness.
I thought about it and went for the correct one.
So we see them back at the station, and Walsh is talking to Ray, and I'm trying to think like how he worded it, but he was kind of like, if you kill a guy, the whole precinct has killed this guy, kind of like really this doesn't just reflect on you, this reflects on everybody, and this is not good for our reputation.
But
Yeah, he was like, it was just one punch. I didn't even bruise my hand. That was his thing. It's like, it didn't even bruise me. I didn't hit him that hard. Like one punch and this guy's dead.
It does also play nicely into the whole thing of this version of this Ray, not this version of Ray, this Ray.
This Ray.
He is very gung ho. He is the guy who will kind of not shoot first, but it's like there's this risk he will. And like later on in the episode, he does something he did right in the first episode was in, and they do it periodically, is him going a little bit nuts to scare the guy.
Yeah.
Which is straight out of Lethal Weapon. So for it, Michelle hasn't seen Lethal Weapon, but if you know it, Riggs, which is
Mel Gibson?
Mel Gibson's
yeah, you
character.
mentioned Mel Gibson.
Mel Gibson's character. He's very much the loose cannon and just like always going nuts and everything, and so you don't know where he's coming from. And I think they brought a good chunk of that into Ray Kowalski.
Yeah. Oh yeah, so because they've separated, Benny and Ray have separated, haven't they? So Ray has gone back to the police station, and then Benny, he's gone looking for this old guy's apartment, hasn't he? And I love that bit. They were actually in this apartment building, and Benny's trying to figure out which one might be this old guy H's. Deef knows. This was my favorite bit for Deef, where he walks up to the door and then he's just like pulls up and like bam, like a police officer like breaking down a door. This was like Deef like bam.
We have seen Deef breaking down a door with his body weight before. Like Deef does not mess about.
It was very cool. It was very cool.
Oh, and earlier you did have him when Ray like acts all smug because they follow Deef and he takes them the wrong direction.
Yeah.
Oh, this bit?
No, I think that was earlier on actually.
And yeah, Ray gets really smug because Benny took them off course or something.
Because I think that Ray was going this way, but Deef was going the other way, and because Benny was like, Deef is very rarely wrong, but actually was wrong.
And then Benny goes, "It's like, so you feel good about getting run up on a dog, do you?"
Yeah, yeah.
Says, I mean, we've already had in this series a few episodes where Benny is a bit more sarcastic, maybe back a little bit, maybe bending the odd rule here or two, which I think does fit his character, having lived in Chicago for 2 years, having gone along with Ray Vecchio, and he learned so much, and he's still learning stuff from Ray Kowalski. So by the time he meets Kowalski, though, like his boundaries are just slightly different.
He's a little sassy at times.
He's a little sassy, and I think he got that from Ray Vecchio. I like that they didn't go so far as to lose the character, but change it a bit.
We like a little bit of sass in him, don't we?
Have it so that he's kind of learned something over the last few years. Yeah,
because it's bound to happen.
Because you've already got to establish a relationship. So you've got like essentially with Due South, pretty much you can tune into any episode unless it's a sequel to one of the previous episodes. You can go in fresh, it just works on its own. You don't need to know that much. They tell you the character is, and the character doesn't really move too much from who they are. But when you have a one person leaves, someone else comes in, it gives you that opportunity to like, right, from here on in, we're going to establish this character has grown from the last couple of years. Now it's this, it's like it gives you that chance to change the character, whereas usually you have to keep a status quo, but you're changing a character, so it's not like you can switch from one of the Ray Vecchio episodes to Ray Kowalski and go, something's different here.
Yeah, but that was good. Yeah, so that was a little bit earlier on. So now we've got Benny, and he's actually in H's apartment. And
5, 6, 7, 8.
But I love
that
that
H from steps for anyone who
people aren't going to get that. Well, some people might. But I loved like some of the little touches when Benny was walking around the apartment. He's doing his thing. He was doing a lot of sniffing in this episode. He was sniffing the pillow. And I loved the little thing where he was going to open the drawer and he noticed that there was this little hair hanging down, and he like moves this like hair off, opens the drawer. He finds this like medal underneath. He's looking through and he puts it back in. He's like, and puts the hair back down. It's like such a spy thing as well, having like the little hair. Like, cause I've only recently watched the James Bonds, but that was something that was on like James Bond, where like put a little hair, like just.
Oh, now have you watched them all now?
Yes.
Which was your favourite? Because I know you were quite a fan of Moore.
Yeah, it was actually. I would actually say it's Roger Moore. I can't think what it's called now. The one where he goes into outer space.
Moonraker.
Right,
Jeez,
yes.
you enjoyed the silly boy.
I think I do. I think I like the silly. Really enjoyed that one. There are some really, really good ones.
I love Daniel Craig.
Yeah, he's good.
I
He's
really
good.
thought he was
He's good.
phenomenal in the role. Like to go in and like there are so many people. I'm not saying everyone by a long shot, and there's a lot of people who grew up, especially I think Connery probably for a certain generation is definitely the favored Bond. But I think Daniel Craig's like in the conversation quite heavily, and that's not an easy thing to do.
No, he's very good.
Yeah, more on Connery
yeah.
usually. Anyway, that's our little.
Yeah, we digress.
James Bond
We've
by
digressed to
Southeast
James
moment.
Bond. Yeah, but yeah, because it's spies, we talk about spy stuff. Yeah, I love.
Double O by 7.
And then so Benny's he's still looking in the apartment, and there's some old lady just like opens the door with a gun. It's not often you see old ladies with guns, but you know she comes in with a gun and he disarms her. He's figured out pretty quickly that because she's making out that she's the manager and that he's left and he hasn't paid all of his rent, and he's already figured out that she's with him. They go downstairs and yeah, he was in a room with her, and they're a couple.
No, I love the of course Benny kind of being able to just sniff out where the guy is. He says it's because of her perfume, which he knows the guy likes sweet smells or something. Just classic Benny. Classic Benny.
There's a lot of bits in this that are really classic Benny. The licking, the sniffing, they really they really went hard on some of that, didn't they?
Sure, some of this wasn't in your imagination, Michelle.
I'm pretty sure I saw it. Pretty sure I saw it all.
Well, you saw it all. You did not. Benny did not get his kit off.
But when he's talking to H,
5, 6, 7, 8.
Get over it.
Wow.
There is a really heartwarming moment, I think, like you touched on earlier on when he's talking about, he was working for his country and he was waiting for his country to call him back into action.
Yes.
And now he's like looking and he's like, they've waited too long, and he's like looking at his hands and how old he looks, and he's like, now there's nothing of me. It's like he's waited all his life to serve his country, and now he's too old to actually do it.
This thing, as I say, I know it might have sounded slightly flippant earlier of me talking about how old this guy was, but I think it really was crucial to get someone who looked as old as he did. I don't know if his actual age matched, or sometimes they hire someone who looks older but's a bit younger because it's easy, I'd say, just for practical insurance reasons. But he just looked perfect for this role, and just even though this may not be one of my favorite episodes, you will always get me with the theme of someone near the end of their life looking back and I don't regret, or just wanting to do that one last thing so that they can leave this world having, by their own estimation, made a difference. It's like a common plot on these things is like they made more difference than they realized, and everyone does so much during their life, and I love that as well. But it's like, just that feeling of like I've just got to do this, and then it'll all be worth it. I've been called up now. I've been called up too late, but I have been called up now. Let's do this thing.
Yeah, but I did really like that moment between him and Benny, and he'd all told his partner to leave the room because he's like, she's so proud of me because she believes that he's the spy, and he didn't want to break her heart by her hearing that he's not. And that did get to me a bit. That did get to me. Yeah,
it was a bit. Which is it later when Diefenbaker comes round to the apartment? Is that later?
Yeah, that's later.
Okay.
Yeah, that's
We'll
later.
We'll
so then we go back to the station. So the Ray and Benny are going to go down to the morgue where there's the body of the guy that Ray had killed, or had he? But I mean, just absolutely loved the fact that you go down, and of course they've got, I put mad mortician just because it sounded fun, but
it's so great. This is a recurring character. Sorry, I cut you off there.
No, I was just going to say, it's probably not a mortician, he's a coroner, but it just sounded funny to me. Of course he's a mad eccentric, and he's drinking something out of like a wine glass, but it's probably just water or something. Please,
is it Gilbert Herbert? The guy's name?
I can't remember his name now.
Anyway, this recurring character, he does come up in quite a few episodes, and I actually checked with Michelle because, of course, I remember him. I was like, "This is the first time we're seeing him, isn't it?" Like in the show, and you go, "Yeah, that's like brilliant. You're gonna love this guy." I knew you would. So much fun, very much on Benny's kind of weird wavelength. This is the thing in these later series; they love a bit of a wacky sidekick. So you've got Turnbull, when he turns up, I think is even more insane than he's ever been. You've got this guy now. You've got like just they love throwing in these little quirky characters in Due South.
It was a lot of
It's just
fun.
great. Yeah, it absolutely wonderful. And when they're going in, I love the fact that Ray isn't very comfortable with going down to the
No.
morgue. And he goes to Benny, he's like, okay, if you try and taste anything, I'm out. It's like, understood. That was nice.
Yeah, and he spends the whole time kind of like hiding. He doesn't want to look or anything.
Yes.
But it's so weird. It's like he'll see a body out in the street or whatever, and he's completely fine because you see him later on and there's a body and he's fine. But in the morgue, he's suddenly like, oh no, I don't like this.
Yeah.
It's funny, isn't it?
And it's Benny, of course, when the guy's talking about we haven't even started the post-mortem yet. It's like, fine. Out in the Yucatan, we learned to do our own speed autopsies because we're miles away. So like we did it with like non-invasive techniques and stuff. It's like, oh, what are you going to do? Find out what he had to eat by smelling his breath. He goes, actually, Ray, yes. It's like, so smacks him
But the
in
way
stomach,
he does it, the
sits up,
punch in the stomach, so the air.
blows like air right into his face. His dead man air. Gross as hell. And I was like, oh god, I'm with Ray on this one. It's disgusting. So he does a post-mortem basically by slapping in the gut and then look at his nails and stuff.
Yeah. So then they look into his mouth and they see he's got a cap on his tooth, and they're like, both him and the coroner are like, cyanide.
Almonds.
Yeah, that was it.
Yeah, they
smelled
almonds, so they knew that he'd taken cyanide.
Yeah, so they think he probably didn't take it on purpose, but the punch made him bite down.
Yeah, and so we get into the Russian spy of it.
Mm-hmm.
Luckily, in no way topical, so we'll move on from that because it just doesn't fit at all.
Yeah, and then Benny leaves, and Ray has to do the ID of the body, which he's really squeamish about. So I made a note of that.
Benny's going off to the ballet, isn't he? And
the
other guy's got
yeah.
tickets to see an opera or something. So they're just
these
well, who's going to do the ID the body? You are. Remember to roll the fingers. It's not like a pup when you take the fingerprints.
Yeah, so this Benny's got the theatre ticket that the old guy had taken out of the bin, so he's off to the theatre to see if he can figure out what's going on. And he was very excited about going. He was very much looking forward to it.
It's a nice night out.
Yeah.
Oh, and when they're on the way out, is it this bit where Benny has a nap on his way down the stairs?
Oh. Was it that or was it later? I think it was late. I think it was later. I don't know. Yeah, I think it was later.
Laura said that then.
Yeah, we'll talk about that later. So Benny goes off to the theatre. I didn't write down everything said, so he sits down in his seat, and this clearly this Russian woman in disguise sits down and says like the code word to him. It was something like the white raven waits for the right something.
This is where it annoyed me.
Yeah.
I don't know if it's my neurodiverse brain. I don't know if it's that, but something I don't like, and Due South is really usually very tight for this. Everything kind of as wacky and weird and wonderful as it is, it kind of makes sense. The characters always follow their motivations. You know, the character is pretty solid to who they are in Due South. And this woman, when she sits down and asks, I know we don't know her character, but she asks for the code name. Now, if someone doesn't give you the code name, you don't have a conversation where you give them a few different options of ones to answer. You either go, oh, the sparrow flies south for the winter. It's like, but only under a blue moon or something. You know, if you don't give the correct reply the first time, you don't go, well, let me try you on another riddle. The man goes up the chimney, but only at Christmas. Like, you don't give him a second go. But she does like 3 or 4 with him and goes like, and even then she doesn't seem to give up when he doesn't get any of them.
No, was she
She's the worst spy ever.
Was she just mesmerized by how good he was looking?
I'm not giving you that one here. They gave no allusion to that.
No,
it just annoys me because, as I say, Due South is usually really good at that.
Yeah,
I don't like it when it just doesn't make any sense like that. There are rules, damn it.
So they end up like just chatting, don't they? They end up just talking like she's a spy on a mission.
This is thrilling for me because we don't usually get this kind of entertainment where I'm from. So what?
Yeah, and he's going on, and people behind him are shushing him, and it gets. I mean, this is quite a comical thing. It's like one person like shushes him, then the next time like more people shush him, then the third time like loads of people all turn around at the same time, and just go
And there's a weird bit where the camera kind of pans out so you see the whole audience.
Yeah.
And that's when they all shush him, I think. But
Yeah.
anyway, they pan out. And I know he's wearing his red Mountie outfit, but I swear it looks like there's a spotlight on him. Like, I know his red outfit sticks out in a crowd, but
Yeah.
it looks like he's
there was
weirdly
a
lit.
spotlight.
Again, I don't know.
Yeah.
Maybe this is just a mistake. Maybe I mean, in this episode, they do kind of play with a few different genre styles. So sometimes in old TV shows, they would put a spot on someone where in the show they wouldn't have it. Like, you know, in their reality, there isn't a spotlight on them, but we're seeing them in a spotlight because it makes them stand out more. So I don't know if it's like that, because there's the bit. Have we seen any of the bits yet at this point where they're in the car?
No.
And that goes straight.
No,
Okay.
not yet. Not
Okay.
yet. No.
Hold
Yeah,
the
but
pin in that. 'Cause
there's
it's
lots
never
of
exciting.
there's lots of like physical comedy
Yeah.
bits in this scene, isn't there? So yeah, because I put queries, but spotlight, but then the feds covering up.
The feds.
Yeah. I don't know. Oh, I think it then goes back to the station. I think that's it. There's a bit of back and forth with Ray at
is
the
there?
station. Yeah. And
Well,
then
shall we deal
Benny.
with the whole,
Yeah.
We'll do the opera bit and then
Yeah.
we'll go to the other bit.
Yeah.
Or the ballet, sorry, bit.
Yeah, the ballet. So yeah,
Because in the ballet scene, it's next he goes on stage, isn't it?
it's soon, because then he's walking up the aisle and then he sees that guy that was there as well. And then they do this kind of like weird dancing up and down the stairs.
Right,
And it's
yes.
all in time to the music as well.
And that's kind of fun. That
Yeah.
works. That feels very due south. It's great.
But that's when he then runs down and gets on the stage.
Then Benny gets on stage, and this is where I'm going to call bullshit. Because the ballet dancers, as opposed to going, well, what the fuck, we'll wait until this moron's dragged off by security. By their estimation, I'm not calling Benny a moron, nor would I ever. The love is real.
Mhm.
But it's when, they've got, like, he goes on stage and suddenly the ballet dancers just start throwing themselves at him, not in a romantic way, but
Just-
so he can
just
catch them and do
dancing, yeah.
twists and do Now, don't get me wrong. I will buy Benny is a great dancer because he's read a manual on ballet and from that extrapolated how to do it. Like he was bored in he was on stakeout in the tundra. Like he hadn't eaten for days, and the only company he had was this book, and he read all about ballet. Why not? Like that's very due south. But randomly having all these people just knowing to choreograph around him on the spot, no,
Mhm.
just no.
Yeah, it got a bit weird. I think at this point we were kind of like looking at each other, going like,
Yeah,
"This,
well,
this
well,
just
I
wouldn't,
didn't
this
watch
wouldn't
it.
happen like this. Yeah, this isn't due south. This wouldn't happen.
Yeah,
What is going on?"
I like the fact that due south is the absurd in a situation that would otherwise happen.
Yeah.
But it has to make sense to the logic of like, well, why are those guys doing like before you've had bits where like stuff's falling and he keeps on having to run and push back a vase and then something else. That's brilliant physical humour, but it doesn't involve any fucking them up with logic.
Because after these dance with the ballet dancers, he then jumps on the back of this like horse prop thing that's on the stage, and it takes off and goes, no, because it's taking off with him. You're like,
Yeah.
What is happening? What is actually going on here? Yeah. Yeah. Apparently we've got limits. Who knew? Who knew? But
limits. It's just like
the
the insanity has to be insane. The logic has to work. Like that's my only thing I can do to describe it.
Yeah.
I love Twin Peaks. I'm watching that back and covering it for the Squeeze Show. Please do check out our coverage, watching back all the episodes of Twin Peaks. But that exists in a weird world. Like it's in a messed up world where it's partly kind of a take on soap operas. It's partly really strange, surreal shit. Like we've got like angels and demons and all sorts of shit in there. But it makes the rules it establishes in its world hold all the way through. Everything makes sense to the rules of that world. And due south is usually like that. So due south, and within the due south world, people don't just magically know choreography around someone who just appeared on stage. That's never been a feature.
Yeah.
It doesn't take those leaps of logic usually. It's just not a feature of its
no,
weirdness.
because like you say, like usually whatever mad thing Benny's doing, he will explain why he knows it, why he's doing it, how he's learned it, whatever it is. There'll normally be some mad explanation, but you will just accept it because it's like, yeah, okay, I believe that of you.
And it doesn't require anyone else other than those we've established to be a bit weird. Like you've got the Leslie Nielsen character. Of course, he's established to be a bit weird. So when he does weird stuff like Benny, it works.
Yeah.
If he suddenly knew some or started just throwing himself towards Benny to catch him, you'd go with it. But it makes no sense to this. It just like those ballet dancers would not just doesn't work. It's not how due south works.
No. But we'll get over it. We will get over it.
For everyone's enjoyment, thank you.
Yeah, so there was a cut scene like back to the station where Ray is talking to Walsh because
they cut it. How do you know?
They cut back to it. So I think Ray had been looking up this Russian guy that he'd killed and
signing him up.
Yeah. Well, once he'd actually turned around and looked at him in the morgue, he was like, "Oh, hello." And it was looking like the feds were maybe covering up something about him, so he's getting a little bit suspicious that, something's going on here. And Walsh is just like, "Leave it, drop it." It's like, he didn't sound quite that good when he was saying it, but
he did sound like a cop from an old show.
No, he didn't. But leave it, Ray, leave it.
Wycliffe, you're off the case.
You're suspended. Go home. Leave it, just lag.
And he lives in the town of Wycliffe too,
yeah, so there was that. So just bring your attention to it. But then outside, it cuts back. We're outside the theatre. I think Benny's like running away from the baddies, and this car pulls up. Door opens. Benny's got no idea who this is, but he jumps in the car, and they drive off. And this is where we meet Pike.
And this is where shit gets weird because Pike is again, he's one of these characters. Like, look up the guy. He has been in everything, every show known to man. Same thing as the coroner and the old guy in this episode. They've all been in just those two have been in everything. And they suddenly are now in a world whereby in the car it's clearly it's like video film going behind and around the car. Like they used to do for movies and TV. It's very clearly that, and it's clearly a nod to those old TV shows where they do stuff like this, and you'd have this detective who was driving wildly and the guy at the back bouncing around. Like it was perfectly observed from those shows. But again, it's not what Due South does. That's not like it's just weird. It just feels out of character for the show.
Benny is sliding like back and forth in the back of the car at one point, and you're like, no, Benny wouldn't do that. Benny wouldn't do that, thank you.
It's sort of like it's a really funny scene, but it just wasn't from the show.
I just don't think it worked for this.
Yeah.
But I liked Pike. I liked the character of Pike.
It's my cat. God, I hope everyone's been able to hear what I've been saying because I've just seen the microphone switch itself off. So, if I wasn't very clear up until this point, that's why I've been picking up through your microphone.
Maybe.
Hopefully.
Yeah.
Okay. Anyway.
Okay. Professional as always, aren't we? Good.
I did switch it on before. I must just switched off when I slid it down to the microphone.
Yeah, maybe.
Well,
let's hope people have heard you.
If not, congratulations, guys.
So as they're doing this crazy scene in the back of the car, I think we established he was. I'm trying to. what were they called? I didn't write it down. The colonels or something. I'm trying to think what they were called. So it gets a little bit confusing. The Russian guys, the generals or something. I can't remember what they were called.
Yeah, I know what you mean.
So you got like the Russian guys. Then you've got this Pike that comes into it, and then they're an organization that's not part of any of it. They're all kind of like on the outskirts, but they know a lot. But they're not like official, like feds or anything. So it's a bit of a
I mean, the whole setup it
was all a bit weird.
I lost the thread of it all,
Yeah.
if I'm honest. I got confused by it.
Yeah.
There was a lot of details which you had to follow throughout, which didn't seem very easy.
But yeah, anyways, he's talking to Benny, and then Benny's like, right, well, I'm going to bail now. Thank you very much.
Yeah.
And just opens the door and jumps out.
The guy says you'll have to jump out.
Yeah.
And Benny just goes with it, of course.
Yeah, he's like, poof, of course he does. and this was quite a comical thing. So he leaps out of the car, he's rolling, and it was like a like I might call it like a boombox, like a music.
Yeah, boombox.
Yeah, boombox. We'll go with boombox, which gets smashed, and he just styles it out so nicely. The way he gets up and he's like, sits down on a bench next to this guy. He's like, "Hello," but he'd smashed up this poor guy's boombox.
Yeah, and this again, I mean, this actually is quite juice up.
It is
but
quite
it just
funny.
reminded me of a lot of the movies of the time because you had this running bit in Speed where they kept on. Was it in the same film, or was it just they called back to it in Speed 2, which was fucking awful? But there was this guy who they ran right through his. I think it was his car in the original, or his bike it might have been, and the second one he's on a boat, and they managed to total that as well. And it's like it's very the movies of the time to have that kind of running joke of one guy who keeps on having this thing happen to him in the background.
Benny blocking Ray, top secret.
Oh, and a big shout out, by the way, Sarah Kirk's just sent a photo that she's watching.
Hey, Sarah. Nice to have you here. Oh, yeah. I'm trying to understand what I've written here myself. The Benny blocking Ray.
That's always promising. Mum said the same thing when she'd written a list of stuff for me to bring to the hospital. Oh, I can't read this. Good. Cheers, Mum. Let's try and work it out together.
So back at the station. So obviously Ray can't see anything on this guy because it's been blocked by the feds, but Benny logs in to a Canadian.
This was
classic.
Good.
This was good. So Benny logs into like this Canadian system, and he can get all of the information up. And they start off, they're both looking, and then Benny realizes like, oh, this is top secret. Oh no, you can't look. And he's like holding up this bit, but no, you can't look. No, this is top secret. Like, this file, and Ray's doing this.
Ray keeps him going. Ray comes back. He goes like, "No pig." It's like, "No, it wasn't." Yes, you were. Benny gets really personal, but it kind of again, this works because he's getting personal about it's Canadian classified files. You get the feeling this is the occasion where Benny would be a bit snippy and they're like, "No, it's a national secret."
Yeah,
and then Walsh comes along and goes, "Hey, what are you doing on FBI server?" No, it's a Canadian. Thing, turns out,
but he won't. He's like trying to like block Walsh looking as well. It's like, no, it's top secret. No, you're not looking. Yeah. He's even blocking Walsh from looking.
Wonderful.
But, that was a really good really good moment. Oh yeah, and then I did write down that when Walsh realizes it's a Canadian one, and he just goes, "Oh, Canadians have computers now."
Yes. He goes,
wow.
we have all sorts of things these days.
Yeah.
Remind me actually, I don't know if you'll remember me playing this for you because you were quite drunk last week, but I put on a video. There's this band called The Classifieds from Canada, and they've got a song called "Oh Canada," which is a take on the "Oh Canada," but it's this rap song all about kind of everything is celebrating about Canada and how like Canada's seen as a joke, but look at all the stuff we've done. Like, we invented the telephone, a lot of people don't think we've got TV, but we invented the TV, the telephone. The wonderful song. I'd highly recommend checking it out. But it just made me think of that.
Yeah. Very good. And then this is the bit we get to when Ray and Benny they figure out that H is in a lot of trouble and he's in danger. So 5,
6, 7, 8.
So they take H and his missus over to Ray's apartment.
Faye?
Ruth. Her name's Ruth.
Faye was also in.
Why are you obsessed with Steps?
Faye,
I don't know. I wasn't a big Steps fan.
Oh, you liar!
I'm not lying.
Yeah, you and your boot scooting baby, or Gary as we call him.
Hey, Gary.
Hey, Gary.
Kiss my husband.
I mean, what again? I mean, for the first time. I love him like you don't.
Well, this is going places I didn't think I was going to go to today.
That's what he said. Hey.
Oh dear.
As you up.
So Ray and Benny take H and
some wicked strength rum. I'm sure nothing will go wrong.
Nothing can go wrong. Yeah, and his Mrs. Ruth. They take him to Ray's apartment to stay, and he's not very happy about this. I don't think he got much of a say in this.
No, and Ray was also like, so was that? Oh yeah, because it was his. Was that why he was getting funny about the
Yeah. He was like, I don't want old people sleeping in my bed.
and Deefy didn't want to stay either.
Yeah.
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 Oh, because I didn't realise it was his place. Sorry,
Yeah,
that
it was-
makes
yeah,
sense.
it was
That-
Ray's
I
place.
missed something there.
Yeah, Ray's like, I don't want old people in my bed. They smell weird. And
Because I thought they were trying to suggest maybe he was picking up on something and like he was worried for Benny. No, I realised.
yeah, but
sorry,
it was
Deep
Ray's
even.
place. Yeah.
Ah.
And Benny just went, maybe you smell weird.
Yeah, that was too far. That was un-Benny for me.
Mm.
That was going a bit far with his character. I don't know. I didn't feel comfortable about that. He doesn't say someone smells weird. It's,
Yeah, and they leave Deef and Baker's. I put old people sit. Didn't know what to call it. It's not babysitting, but it's just to look after the old couple.
Oh,
Um,
no.
Yeah.
No. Sorry, I know what's going to happen.
but I think it was
Sad times happening soon.
yeah, but I think it was after this that Ray and Benny were walking down the stairs, and I think this is when Ray was like, "Don't you ever nap?" Or
No, he's
something.
like, don't you ever
wasn't it?
sleep?
Or
And
don't
he
you
goes,
ever
I
sleep?
had just a refreshing 10-second nap as I was walking down the stairs. Like, again, classic Benny. There were classic Benny moments. There were moments which were very due south in here.
Yeah, and then they're at the police station again, and this woman. Oh no, this is like the next day, isn't it? Because Ray, because the old people are staying in his place, he spends the night at the police station.
Yeah, and he sleeps
Wakes
in the
up in
cell,
a
and
s- yeah.
Fanny wakes him up.
Yeah, she's like banging on the bars, like waking him up. And she says that this old guy hates his daughter, has turned up and wants to see him. And then Ray goes to see her, and she's like, "Oh, you found my dad. I've been looking for him for 4 years."
I really wish I could remember another name of one of the step screws. Like his daughter is that. I can't.
Yeah, I don't know.
Faye and
Wasn't there one called Claire?
Claire. There you go. Was that Claire?
Yeah, even Willow wasn't impressed with that.
Whereas like, look, nothing like her.
Yeah.
I'm a huge Steps fan. I love those old timey records, says Willow.
I can imagine her dancing to them.
I mean, this was years. Like this was a generation before her birth, probably.
Still, there's internet. She's probably watched them.
So I'm sure my older sister Dottie was into them back in her day. Oh, by the way, you can't see it, but just to bring this on camera, what I've got on my desk now, my podcasting desk where I do all my podcasts, because Dottie was there until she died through all my podcasts. So her portrait now sits on my desk, and I think it's rather
It's
nice.
a lovely picture of her.
It's a really nice picture, but it's just that makes me smile a lot to see that on the desk as I record every podcast. So yeah, thought I'd share that with you guys.
Yeah, so the
Dottie
daughter. Oh yeah, sorry. I'm gonna salute Dottie Baker. Oh, all right, we're drinking.
To Dottie Baker.
To Dottie. The daughter.
Yeah, the daughter.
So I was quite suspicious anyway, because I was like, well, how did she know that her dad's been found? How would she know? How has she found out? I didn't quite understand.
So basically, Ray and Benny had posted up about this guy. I forget how it worked, but I think it was kind of maybe looking for the family. Maybe they posted. I'm trying to remember. They posted something on the police files, or maybe it was in the news or something. There was
I think I got a bit lost somewhere. I
said,
don't know.
Yeah, I obviously have as well. But I remember she said something about she said, "Oh, I read it here or something, or I saw it here," and Ray goes, "Wow, that was quick. We only posted it last night."
Yeah,
so
yeah, that was
he posted something. Somewhere.
Yeah,
I don't know if it was it gone to the news or what, or if he'd posted it on some police thing database, which maybe she picked up. I don't know. Maybe this might have been it. I think where they checked him in, she was looking for him and asked in the police stations was her cover story. So they found it on the system. I think that's how it worked.
Okay, we'll go with that. Yeah. No, so I know what you mean.
Once he's checked into the system, if they ask after him in another police station, it would pick it up. I think that was the claim.
Okay. Yeah, I think that's how we got there. Yeah, so she was like, "Oh, please, can you take him to me? I've been looking for him. I'm worried." All of this. I think she kind of said that he'd had a breakdown and then disappeared, and she'd been looking for him. So she gets in the car with Ray, and they're driving off. I thought he was a bit more suspicious, but it didn't. But he seemed to be driving her to him.
It looked all the way through like he was suspicious. He gave a couple of He gave a couple of looks which suggested like he was, and she even said something like one word. She said it in a kind of slight Russian accent.
Yeah, there was this accent.
So
there.
you assumed that they were leaning towards Ray having worked it out, but
no,
they never landed that.
No.
It's almost like that was in an earlier draft and they disposed of it, but they forgot to change the earlier bit.
Yeah,
I don't know. It just seemed weird. Anyone who knows anything about that bit, if there is a reason why it plays slightly funny like that, it seemed like he was meant to, unless it was a weird red herring. But then those little looks he gives and those little reactions and her saying that word in a weird voice doesn't really. Why is it there then if it's not?
Yeah.
Like the red herring seemed, I don't know, it's a red herring to us, but it's got to make sense to what the characters are doing in the moment.
It was purposeful.
They can't do those looks for no reason.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Anyway, yeah, that seemed weird.
Yeah, so I was a bit confused. Yeah, but then as he's driving her there, he gets a phone call from Franny, and she's pretty much like, "Who are you in the car with?"
Yeah. Oh no, well, because she's.
I can't remember how she put it now.
It was like, we looked on the file and we found that he had a daughter, and he goes, "Hey, oh, newsflash! I'm in the car with her." And she goes, "No, that's why I'm calling. She drowned. So who the hell are you in the car with?" And because they picked up enough from what Ray said, the woman's got a gun to his head. And it really, this last kind of few scenes where you see like the Russian woman is kind of getting everything loaded up, ready to go, and like she's got the gun there, and it's down with the ducks. It seemed like it again. They've definitely taken a lot of tropes from action movies at the time, and this seems like something they've done in the past of Due South. So this seemed to fit because they've done a few kind of like it'll be the docs where they're on a plane which they're loading up with drugs, and they get in there at the 11th hour. So it's not like this is something that Due South hasn't done before. So this kind of fits their usual end of episode kind of shenanigans.
Yeah. So then there's some firing that goes on, isn't there? So we found out there was a little bit of a shootout, and then I think this is when Ray ends up in the car with Pike, isn't it?
Don't tell him Pike.
Yeah, so he gets in the car, and then Pike's hat's on fire.
Yeah, his hat's on fire, which it takes him a minute. Ray points it out. So he takes it, throws out the window, and then gets another
hat.
Well, it's just got a spare hat laying around.
That is a nice touch, I think.
That I will give them. That if it was just that, which was a slightly quirky, doesn't really make sense. It's like a push of whimsy. I would have given them that, but there's loads of things which like that which don't really feel very Due South.
Yeah,
that's probably the one which somehow fits best because it's just a wacky, silly thing. It's and again, it's the same thing of like they're driving at high speed. The scenery film around the car is moving at 100 miles.
So fast,
ridiculously fast.
Yeah,
Due South doesn't do that hyper reality. It's usually reality with some silly things which wouldn't usually happen in reality in there.
Yeah.
But the background to it has to be realistic.
Yeah, and it's not at all.
Well, it gets me back to my old theory, which I like to bring up on a regular basis on the show about Leslie Nielsen. He was funniest when they wrote everything around him very straight. He's delivering these lines very straightly, which are incredibly silly, and it's an incredibly sad situation, and he's delivering it like it's nothing, like it's just what happens every day to him. And that's why they hired him from like being a serious actor, because they knew they could do it. When he started playing up for the camera, when he was doing Airplane, the Zucker brothers said to him, "It's like, no, just deliver it straight." And it would be twice as funny. Unless the directors would take him and they would get him to play it up, and they wouldn't curb that in, and it was less funny. And Due South was great with him. Things that thing. It's like Due South has to be some very silly stuff happening in a very real looking world.
Yeah.
And delivered straight as if there's no wink to the camera. And this episode winks to the camera a bit. And I don't think it made it.
Yeah, it doesn't. Yeah, I don't think it really works.
No.
But yeah, so this thing, it really does make you question like this Pike guy, because this is when we find out he knows everything. He knew all about old Ray, new Ray, who they are, and what's going on. He knows everything. So yeah.
And again, that character's fine. I don't mind this character who's researched everything about it. He's like, yeah.
And those were his tattoos and all.
Yeah, and he goes like, actually, my tattoo's on the other side. It's like, I knew that was wrong on the file. They'd flip the image.
Sometimes that can happen on satellite. It gets flipped.
Yeah.
No. Yeah, that was very cool. And then, of course, Ray does the same thing that Benny does, doesn't he? He ends up jumping out the car as well. Straight in the exact same spot that Benny had jumped out,
and falls. He's sat on the guy's boombox this time.
Yeah,
and he goes like, "Hey, my boombox!" And then suddenly Ray looks down, and notices it there, and it collapses underneath his bum.
Yeah, didn't he say the same thing as Benny as well?
And
like
they both say,
a bit of glue will fix
that.
Right. But yeah, that was a nice touch. I thought. But I did enjoy that bit.
Great fun.
Then we go back to the apartment with the old couple.
Yeah.
And I wrote down toxic relationship. That's my first thing I thought was like, wow.
That's what you said. And I was like,
she was encouraging him. Yeah.
But I could see it straight away. It's like, no, she's the one who's been putting him up to this all the way along.
Yeah.
And it's like, it is a lovely little reveal. Because she did just seem like a sweet old lady. You think all the way through the whole thing is going to be, is this guy telling the truth or not? Is this real? Which they sort of then seem to just drop and just go, no, it's real. There's no, I wanted a bit more, make it look like he was insane and then to find out it wasn't. And, it's like yeah. Or has he just got swept up into this thing he knows nothing about and he's imagining he's the spy he isn't, like, and then find out he is. Like the twist on it would have been nice. I think they could have played that for more.
But no, I mean, his partner Ruth, so she's encouraging him to be the hero. She was like, this is your chance to be the hero, even though he's ancient.
Yeah.
She's like, go off and be the hero against all these young gangsters.
Yep.
Because that's going to work out really well for you, love. Yeah, so he goes off and then she drugs Steve.
Yeah. I promise myself I won't cry. No, this is not on. No, she
we're not having this.
She drugs Steve's food, and luckily Ray and Benny get there in time. And it's okay, but we're not happy with her. We do not like this woman. And not a fan. Benny said it's like if we hadn't got in time and he'd finished it all, he would have been like he would have died or something like that. He makes
I think he said if he became unconscious before he ate enough to kill him. Yeah, I think so. It saved his life, the fact that he'd fallen asleep. But
all I was speaking about Dottie before. God, she was Labrador. Like there's no chance that would happen with her. She's like, well, that's me out then. That bowl is clean. Like Willow's more of a kind of like she'll come to it, eat a bit, leave it, get a bit more later. So she might have made it, but like, Dottie would have been like, yeah, not even sorry. Dottie out.
Then we have Ray and Benny, who are at a scene where one of the other baddies is dead in a wardrobe. They go outside, and then there's shots fired, and then they go following this car, don't they? And we do get quite a lot of classic Benny in this scene where he's walking alongside the car as Ray's driving, but he's sniffing the road. He was like licking gas off the road.
Just me was thinking like those cars behind are being very patient. I do not believe in central Chicago.
They'd be like,
any driver like. I mean, okay, I know it's called the New York minute, but I'm sure there's a Chicago half a second.
Yeah. So they're following Benny's like scent and taste of this car along the road, and he takes them straight to it.
And he's tasting along the road. What?
He was like licking the gas and everything.
No, but he wasn't tasting himself along the road. Oh.
Nice. No. Yeah, and then there was like the silly scene. So they're looking in these like big crates that are at the scene. They open it. Loads of rubber ducks come falling out.
Yep.
Why? Loads of rubber ducks. Again, and then there's guns in these crates.
Just like again in Due South Classic, you would have had some reason why it was.
There nothing was explained. Just
why it was rubber duck. Like something would have been set up earlier. There was you would have seen something at least in the background where it was like rubber duck contest. They would have been something which signposted it, so that when it happens, like, oh, that's from that, like that. It's so much more satisfying when they have a reason why. It's not just, oh yes, those vans full of rubber ducks that you get everywhere.
So I don't know what that was about. And then of course H, he's at the scene like trying to be the hero. And he's like looking around the corner, and then he gets a bonk on the head.
You know what they say? Better the devil you know. Another step song.
Yeah, he gets a knock on the head, but so this is the scene. So we've got the Russian baddies, you've got Pike there, and you've got H who's been knocked out. You've got Benny.
And it's too bad for him.
Like, yeah.
Jesus. Do I know any other step songs? We'll find out.
Maybe just at the end we'll just sing one for us, yeah.
Well, like this podcast is only a heartbeat away. Like your love is only a heartbeat away.
I'm sorry, people. I'm very sorry.
What? Can I help it if I worship? No, I don't.
Look, this is a tragedy.
Yay! Now you're back with us.
I'm very sorry, people. Yeah, so we've got this scene where there's like people firing at each other. Benny is like using a like a truck door or something to hide behind, and then this weird conversation going on with Pike and this Russian baddie woman.
Russian baddie
woman. And he's like, I've been,
which I think was a hit during the 80s. Russian baddie woman.
And like Pike's just saying all this weird stuff, and Benny's just like looking confused. And at one point, he just says, I've been chasing you for like 20 years. And Benny's like, no, stop. He's like, look, 20 years ago, she would have been a child. And then Pike's stopping and he's like, thinking, and he's trying to do some maths. Then he's realizing, maybe this isn't the person I've been chasing for 20 years. And it's such a weird scene.
Yeah.
Such a weird scene. Yeah, but then we realize that no, this person that Pike has been after the whole time, it's not her. Who is it? Dun, dun, dun.
So this is where it was revealed
Yeah.
that the old lady turns out
The
to
old
not be
lady.
what we thought. So she's a Russian agent in the end.
Something like that. I don't know.
She whips her wig off anyway. She whips off her wig.
She whips her wig. She's still old.
Yeah, still old.
She's still old. Yeah.
Slightly so maybe, but looks slightly different. Wonderful scene where the I think it's just straight away Diefenbaker jumps and knocks her down, like knocks the gun out of her hand. Yeah. Diefenbaker
to the rescue.
And then there's a great bit where Benny just gives this little kind of signal. It's like for Dief to look, keep an eye on the woman.
Yeah.
And Dief's just wonderful.
Yeah.
And then you go back over and the old guy's there and he goes, but I loved you. I trusted you. I thought we were building something real here. And it's like, it's just so sad because you feel like in this episode, he gets what he wants, that he is at the center of attention, that he's made a difference one more time, even though he sent Benny. It's not like in baseball when they've got designated hitters. He's doing it. He's been instrumental, but he needs someone to do the runs for him because his leg's gone.
I feel his pain.
Yeah. But it kind of like, it works in that regard. And it's like he gets what he always wanted, but then loses what he found he never knew he wanted, which is this relationship with this woman. Because he's been so driven by wanting to make a difference. You get the feeling he doesn't realize he's ended up with what he thought was this wonderful woman, which loved him and he loves her. They've got this great relationship, and it turns out to be all lies. And it's like, that is, I think, quite powerful. Again, it does work with the original theme. But yeah, it would have hit so much harder if he was about during most of the episode.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, I agree. Yeah, so they take her down. She's the woman that they've been after this whole time. And then afterwards, they cut to a scene where they give H, he calls it a citation. That sounds like a bad thing to me.
7, 8. Can still do it.
Did not think this was going to turn into a Steps episode.
No, you didn't. Neither did I. And I can't think of any more songs.
Yeah, so I don't really know what a citation is, I suppose, but it just sounds like you're getting a penalty when you get a citation. But I'm guessing it's a good thing.
I think there's two types, if I'm correct. I know there is a citation like for outstanding service. There is that.
It's got to be that he's got.
I think there's like I think it's a note on your record. So I think a citation can be positive or negative. Because I'm sure I know I've got a citation against you for being late to work every day. So yeah, I think that's the thing too. So I think it just might be a neutral term for a note on your record.
Yeah.
That can be either good or bad.
Yeah, anyway, so he gets a citation and like Ray hands him a trophy as well. But I love the moment when like the guy that stood next to him, he just looks at this H's trophy and goes, they haven't even written anything on there. And he turns around and he's like, of course they haven't written anything on there, you know. It just makes it sound like this was what makes it legit. The fact there's nothing written on it.
Yeah. No, yeah, it is nice. Yeah,
That was a really nice. I like H. I like H. He's really cool. Yeah, so I really
no,
like
really
that.
can't think of any other songs.
Good.
Yeah, you'll be singing them all tomorrow.
They'll be stuck in my head. I'm like, oh, Detective Squee, what have you done to me?
It's one for sorry. No, already done it. No,
Yeah,
no, I'm
you've
out.
done
I'm
it.
out.
You've
I'm out.
done
I'm
it.
out of step songs unless something comes to me.
Yeah, and then another car like pulls up, the door opens, and they're like, "Is it Pike?" He's like, "No,
It's Ike.
it's Ike."
I'm like, what the fuck is happening this day? Like, you're in the last scene and you thought, yeah, let's just introduce his wacky brother.
Yeah,
Because Pike had to flee the country because of what went down, and like now the mission's over. He's gone on to something else and something like that. And it's just like,
something.
why are we getting all this backstory about him last minute with this new character? It's
It was just a bit silliness at the end, but it was just like,
it's like it's not weird enough to be a surreal trip of an episode, which, don't get me wrong, it could so go into any surreal episode of anything. I love when something goes really weird, but it's just weird enough to be inconsistent with what Due South usually is. It's not within its
Yeah.
usual weirdness.
mhm.
Like, it's usually weird, but not in these ways. So yeah, it's not all of an episode. It's not unenjoyable. There's plenty of fun parts, but you know, we're gonna ask right now. Can you give me the information I seek? Can you tell me what the best moments of the week are? So we're going to start with, well, first of all, let's give it a rating. So how many Old Russian Lady Spies out of 10 would you give this episode, Michelle?
I'm gonna give it a 6
Okay. Oh, why 6?
because I think it was still above average, and there were some really good moments. Really like a lot of things that were introduced. There was still some fun stuff. There was lots of good Due South moments, but don't think I can put it any higher. I don't think it reached as high as it could have.
See, similarly, but I'm going to give it a 5 because I do think it was quite average. I think there was some moments which are really great, which excelled it a bit past average, but other bits which really don't fit, which knock it down again. So it kind of meets in the middle of being 5. Averages out as average. So some bits are really great. There are really great moments in it. Like it's not certainly not an unenjoyable episode, but it's not one where you're going for a rewatch. If you're going to pick out episodes, this would be never one that I'd particularly pick. It's just if I'm doing a complete watch through, yeah, oh great, this one, yeah, fine, yeah, it's fine time. It's not one where you're going, oh yeah, all the King's Horses.
If I was going to say, if I'd watched
Horses,
some of the really good ones more recently, maybe I would. Maybe it'd be a lower score to me because yeah, it's just not going to compare, is it?
Yeah.
I mean, I'll stick with 6, but yeah, when you start thinking about some of the older episodes, yeah.
So we've got what for you, Michelle, was let's get out of the way because I think this is going to be a fairly easy one for me anyway. What was your best Diefenbaker moment of the week?
Oh, I think, yeah, I said it earlier on, the way he just like burst that door open for me.
Oh, we have got different ones.
Yeah, maybe
that's
we
a
do.
great
Yeah.
moment. For me, I can get past him taking down the woman's gown and then staring her out. Great. No, you're right. No, there were a few.
There was a
moments.
few good ones, yeah.
For me, that last part, but I see your moments. I see why that's a really great one. What's your most American of the week? Now, for anyone who hasn't watched before, or maybe hasn't watched for a while, these are people who exemplify America. They aren't necessarily American themselves. They're just the most American, which we haven't selected before. You can't double select. Same thing with the Canadian of the week, which we'll get to. but a moment. But Michelle, what is your most American of the week? I've stalled for long enough.
Yeah, no, well, I know, and yeah, it's a bit weird for me this week. But my American of the week, I'm going to go for Pike because he just reminded me so much of like some of the old American films that I just,
Yeah,
I
same here.
think he's
Same
my
here.
American.
That's
Yeah,
exactly who I was going to go
Yeah.
for. He just reminds me of the American platform for in the mold of Sam Spade. That's clearly what he's based on.
yeah,
And you have got those old TV shows where they would drive to a film which has been like the it's got screens all around it. So clearly that's what it was based on. So it was very American iconography.
yeah.
So yeah. Most Canadian of the week, Michelle.
Yeah, and I think this is where it feels a bit weird because I'm going to go for H, but he was very much.
That's Ep78.
It's never going to stop, is it?
You never stop the steps.
But even though he was very much about wanting to serve his country of America, his personality and everything, it was just so kind and so nice and so sweet. I want to call him my Canadian of the week.
Same here.
Okay.
I genuinely thought like because it's the Canadian spirit of can-do attitude, and this guy has been there ready to be called all his life, and doesn't feel he has. But it didn't stop him waiting to be called. Like you feel like any Canadian officer, it's like when they're on the door, when they're doing door duty at the consulate, and they don't say a word. They're there and waiting. Like it's not they're not present. It's not that their mind isn't active to strike into action at a moment's notice, and then when the shift ends or is there emergency, they just leap into action. And it seems. Everything they've told us about Canadians in due south is that, and this guy is waited to be called all his life, and then when he is, it's like, I'm older than I wanted to be when this happened, but I'm still going to do it. That Canadian spirit's right there. So we've had the marks out of 10. We've had the most Canadian of the week, the most American of the week, and the Diefenbaker moment of the week. All that remains, Michelle, of course, is to say where people can find us out there.
I'd point your compass.
No.
Oh no!
Social media.
Oh no!
You don't get over that easy. You thought you'd wrap up the show, did you?
Yeah, if I say that end bit, then we're done, right?
No,
we're done.
I've got to do the you know.
Can I burst into a step song?
I mean, you can, but then you've got to recite where people can find us online.
Places. So Facebook.
What's on Facebook? Where can I find us there?
It's a group
called
Do Self by Southeast.
That's correct. And by the way, if you're watching this later, I will share this to that group. But Facebook streaming for some reason doesn't let you stream to groups anymore. Or StreamYard is what it is. So if they wanted to send us an email, what would they do? Where would they go for that?
DoSelfBSE@gmail.com.
That's correct.
Oh my god, I'm so much better than this I thought it was going to be.
What about if they were on the old Twitter tweets?
It's
wrong. I hadn't mentioned to you because this was too much fun. I've taken us off Twitter because fuck Elon. There you go.
Okay.
I think we all know why this week. So we may be on Threads soon. I mean, set up Threads or something, so was somewhere, but fucking, it was getting so annoying. Like, even before what happened, I didn't look on my Twitter account. I'm still going to call it Twitter. I don't care what he says. Every time I looked on there on my phone, the notifications, there was occasionally ones from Big Finish into Doctor Who audio dramas and a few other places I followed. But mostly it was every single tweet Elon Musk did, and I didn't follow him. Fuck you and your propaganda machine. Anyway, I've been Dr. Squee or Detective Squee. With me has been, of course, Lieutenant Willow and
little mini Mountie Michelle.
Tiny teeny Mountie Michelle.
Next week I'm going to be even smaller.
Yeah, it's like Russian. Well, ironically for this episode, it's Russian nesting Michelle's.
Yeah, I'll get the smaller one out next time.
She's going to be still at the desk. Anyway, until next week, Michelle, until next time. Let's be honest.
Yeah, it's not going to
So
be next week. That's...
We are going to do. Honestly, I think we can do one more in November, and then it'll be the Christmas special. I think that's probably.
Let's try for that. But
Yeah, I'll work. So, Michelle, if they until next week when they join us once more, we're going to. I don't know. I mean, just pull out there if they had a device, a compass, say maybe, and they wanted to keep it pointed, and I was going to milk this in a certain direction. Pray tell, just if you could imagine such a scenario, if you could hold it within your mind, what direction would they keep that compass pointed in?
just point it due south by southeast.
Night, guys.